you feel anxious when met with balancing chemical equations, then here at ChemCheats we have the key for you. Here is an equation where nitrogen reacts with hydrogen to form ammonia. The small 2 next to the nitrogen indicates that there are 2 nitrogen atoms in the molecule, and we can write these underneath to help us later. We can do the same thing with the hydrogen, but when we get to the ammonia, it's slightly more complicated as there is more than one type of atom present. There is 1 nitrogen atom and 3 hydrogen atoms present in an ammonia molecule. Once I've written out all of the atoms present in my equation, I can begin to cross off those atoms which appear on both sides. To begin with, I can cross out a nitrogen on the left hand side and a nitrogen on the right hand side, a hydrogen on the left and the right, and a second hydrogen on both sides of the equation. However, I'm left with 1 nitrogen on my reactant side and 1 hydrogen on my product side, and I cannot leave these unbalanced. In this instance, I'm going to focus on the nitrogen on the left-hand side. In order to balance this nitrogen, I'm going to need another nitrogen on the right-hand side of my equation. The only way that I can do this is to put a big 2 in front of my ammonia, which will give me another nitrogen and 3 more hydrogens. I can then cancel out the nitrogens I have left on both sides. However, I'm now left with 4 extra hydrogens on the right-hand side of my equation. The only way to gain hydrogens on the left-hand side of my equation is to change the number of hydrogen molecules I have. If I put a 2 in front of them, I gain 2 hydrogen atoms, which I can cancel out with 2 hydrogen atoms on my right-hand side. However, this is insufficient, as I'll still have 2 hydrogen atoms left on the right-hand side of my equation. If I change my 2 to a 3, I'll gain 2 more hydrogen atoms on my left-hand side, and you'll see that finally I have balanced my equation successfully. Here is a second example with hydrochloric acid reacting with magnesium. Now, if you prefer to visualize, you are allowed to draw out the molecules to help you see what is on each side of my equation. However, I personally prefer just to write out the atoms that I've got present. In this case, 1 hydrogen, 1 chlorine, 1 magnesium on the left-hand side, and a magnesium, 2 chlorines, and 2 hydrogen atoms on the right-hand side. I can start by cancelling out a hydrogen from each side, a magnesium from each side, and a chlorine from each side. And you'll see that I'm left with 1 chlorine atom and 1 hydrogen on the right-hand side of my equation. That's equivalent to 1 HCl, so if I put a 2 in front of my HCl to gain 1 hydrogen and 1 chlorine atom on the left-hand side of my equation, you'll see that these cancel, and I have successfully balanced my second equation. It even helps when it gets really complicated. For example, here's sulfuric acid reacting with ammonia. You'll notice on the right-hand side, I have NH4 in brackets with a 2 on the outside. This means that everything inside the brackets is multiplied by 2. In the case of hydrogen, I'll have 8 hydrogen atoms, and then I will have 2 nitrogen atoms as well. The SO4 isn't in brackets, so I have 1 sulfur and 4 oxygen as before. On the left-hand side, I have 1 nitrogen atom and 3 hydrogen atoms in my ammonia molecule, and I have 2 hydrogen atoms, a sulfur, and 4 oxygen atoms in my sulfuric acid. If we begin to cancel out atoms on both sides, I can begin with 2 hydrogens, a sulfur, 4 oxygens, 3 hydrogens, and a nitrogen. If you add up what is left, I have NH3 left. So by increasing my ammonia on the left-hand side of my equation to 2, I can add 1 nitrogen and 3 hydrogens on the left-hand side of my equation, and that will successfully cancel out with what's left on the right-hand side of my equation. We have successfully balanced the most difficult type of equation you'll face at GCSE. Hopefully, today ChemCheats have helped you learn how to balance equations. Remember, if you're unsure, write out each atom that's present in your reactants and in your products and cross them off using the method we've used today. Good luck, and we'll see you next time on ChemCheats.